Hi, Mr. Kaufman. We know you're interested in regionalism, so we thought you might be interested in learning something about Olean. You could go to the Chamber of Commerce and get lots of information, but we are going to give you the inside scoop of our city.
Olean, New York was founded in 1808. Olean was an early transportation hub for migrants going west due to Olean's location on the Allegheny River. People would wait in town for the river to rise, which increased our population. As the river travel declined and railroads took over, Olean then became the town where several railroads crossed. Along with the railroads, Olean was a center for oil and a pipeline hub for the region. For a short time, Olean was the world's largest oil depot. John D. Rockefeller and the Standard Oil Trust built a pipeline from Olean to their refineries in Bayonne, New Jersey. This mass amount of business allowed a large population to congregate in the Olean area.
Due to Olean's oil supply and its location halfway between New York City and Chicago, it became a notable stop as a halfway point for travel between these two major cities. Olean gained notoriety on the bootlegging routes during Prohibition. Olean became a safe haven for these underground activities since the chief of police only pursued arrests if they were in his jurisdiction and there was clear evidence. This caused Olean to be visited by some of the most famous mobsters of the era. Most notably Al Capone, one of the most notorious gangsters of all time. Al Capone and his gang caused a large increase of crime in the Olean area. 72 reported murders occurred in the area during this time. 26 are still unsolved, and most likely there are many more unreported. Due to Olean's connection with the mob, the press nicknamed it Little Chicago. Olean native Carl Vino was in the works of producing a movie about his town in this era called Little Chicago. The second video shown is a clip from the trailer to the Little Chicago movie.
Ebenezer Reed was a Revolutionary War veteran who settled down with his family in Olean, New York in 1811. He built a boathouse known as the Old Boathouse and sold and made rafts for immigrants who wished to go down the Allegheny River to Pittsburgh.
Louis Zamperini was an Olean-born Olympic champion, prisoner of war, and decorated World War II veteran. He was born on January 26, 1917, in our city of Olean, New York. Zamperini competed in the 1936 Berlin Olympics. During World War II, he was captured by the Japanese and placed in a POW camp. Louis succeeded once again as he carried the torch for the 1998 Olympics. Unfortunately, on July 2, 2014, Louis Zamperini passed away.
If you ever find yourself here in Olean, make sure you go check out the scenery atop Mount Herman's, where Cloud 9 amusement park used to be. The view is spectacular, especially during the fall.
From 1964 to 1971, overlooking Olean on Mount Herman stood 400 acres of the city's first and only amusement park, Cloud 9. Monty Shoemaker built Cloud 9 over the course of 2 years. The park had campsites, picnic areas, swimming pools, a train, a Ferris wheel, and other attractions. Cloud 9 quickly became a popular tourist attraction for both residents of Olean and residents of neighboring cities. Near the park was Gusher City, a replica oil boomtown with a 72-foot working oil rig. Not much of the park remains, but occasionally when hiking up the mountain, hikers can find remnants of the park, and even today, the view is spectacular.
This is Lincoln Park in Olean, New York, and this here is a sedimentary rock used to memorialize Major Adam Hoops, who served in the Revolutionary War. It's not much, but it's a few people's favorite object in Olean. In the far end of the Mount View Cemetery lies the Veterans Field of Honor. This space is dedicated to the honorably discharged veterans and their family members. Olean veterans' strong will and determination to protect our country reaches far and wide, even across the Atlantic to the World War II burial grounds at Omaha, where Olean native Richard V. Weber rests.
Olean has had several natural disasters. However, one of the most severe was the flood of 1972. In this first video, it pictures the Allegheny River and what Bradner Stadium looks like currently. Bradner Stadium during the flood of 1972 was filled to the brim and looked like a swimming pool, as pictured here. This next clip displays what the wall by Park and Shop on Front Street currently looks like. During the flood of 1972, the water also rose to the brim of the wall and even flooded over. This was a crazy amount of water. Our last clip is a video of what surrounds Olean, known as the dikes. After the flood of 1972, these dikes were man-made to prevent a future flood in the city of Olean, and we have not had a major flooding since.
Winter in Olean. Olean is covered in snow for almost half the year. On average, Olean accumulates 5.5 feet of snow annually. That's a whopping 3.4 feet greater than the average U.S. city. During these chilly times, plowing roads, shoveling driveways, and bundling up in layers become everyday chores for the locals. Despite this, Olean residents remain lively and indulge their time in multiple winter activities, such as ice skating, building snowmen, sledding, skiing, snowboarding, snowmobiling, snow tubing, and so much more. Around Christmas time, the Olean community fills Lincoln Park and the downtown area with decorations and hosts the annual Santa Claus Lane Parade. Only people who live in Olean can truly know the beauty and fun hidden beneath what outsiders would label bad weather.
There are many great, memorable photo opportunities here in Olean. One great view is the Knapp Creek Scenic Overview. If you come for the sunset and stay for the night, you can see the city of Olean light up.
The Olean Public Library was once a schoolhouse. The library had 3 previous locations before the one there is now. The first location was the schoolhouse. In the current library, there is an archive with all this information.
The Hinsdale Haunted House is one of the most terrifying houses in New York. Here are a few eyewitness accounts from the house.
What are your guys' names?
I'm Josh Beeler. Mike Weber.
Why did you guys go to the Hinsdale Haunted House?
Well, we came across the website and we were really interested. We were bored one day, so we took a little drive over there.
How did you feel when you got to the house?
Frightened right away. It was a really eerie feeling. I just didn't really feel comfortable there.
And did you see anything strange or out of the ordinary?
As soon as we pulled in the driveway, the tire swing was going back and forth. It was crazy.
Pretty sure I saw a ghost in the window.
Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today.
Oh, it's our pleasure.
You're welcome.
Here's another story from the Hinsdale Haunted House.
So tell us about your experience.
Okay, so I was told when we got there that the thing not to do was to take anything from the house, because that's a no-no, and of course I did, because I'm an idiot, and I put it in my book bag, and
it was caution tape.
It was caution tape. It was a little bit of caution tape, and then I got home, and I've always had trouble with this touch light in my room, and it started kind of going in a way it shouldn't have gone, and going multiple light levels at a time, and it was an issue. And then my door swung open, and I called Kelsey. And I was almost crying because I don't know what I don't know what you do in that situation, because I don't want to close the door. If it wanted it open for a reason, I'm not going to anger the dude.
So we grabbed the cross.
And then the next day, I got home, and all the lights were on in the basement. And I called my mom, and I said, "When was the last time you were home?" And she, of course, wasn't home, so I got a big knife. I went downstairs, and everything was fine, but all the stuff in my room was messed up. There was water spilled and stuff. And then ADT, because we got security on the house, be safe. ADT called my mom's phone and said that my window had been turned off for like a week, and they didn't know why. So, big spooky.
St. Bonaventure University is well known for having many haunted buildings on campus. St. Francis is rumored to have a ghost of a monk who had previously died in the building. The ghost of St. Francis is not as well known as the ghosts of other buildings on campus, such as Devereux Hall. The 5th floor of Devereux Hall holds the ghost of the Black Mass. At one point, some students gathered on the 5th floor to perform a mass known as the Black Mass with some hosts that they stole from the chapel. The kids tried to bring out spirits but were caught by a friar. This caused these spirits to forever haunt this floor, which led to the prohibited access today. The 3rd floor of Devereux is also haunted, as the ghost of a friar who died there runs on the floor at night. Stories of lingering ghosts from a suicide also are talked about around campus. At De La Roche Hall, there is a famous ghost of a student who died in a fire while typing a paper one night. Sometimes people see a light shining at night on the third floor. Some say that the ghost is looking for the remains of his paper after the fire, while others say the ghost is trying to finish his paper.
Top of Cherry Hill in East Olean, a large man-made crater has now turned into a forest. This pit was the site of a shale mine, as the rock was used for brick making in Olean, beginning at the start of the 20th century and carrying on for some 50 years. The shale mined here was transported to the Sterling Brick Company plant at Seneca Avenue, just a few blocks down from this huge pit at Cherry Hill.
Right now we are in the Olean Theater Workshop, across the street from Oak Hill Park. Most people may think that Oak Hill is nothing more than a park, but it was once used as a cemetery in Olean. The cemetery was included in the original town plans by Adam Hoops, the founder of Olean. Hoops himself was eventually buried there. Just under 1,300 bodies were buried in the park when it was first decided that the bodies were to be removed. The project was completed in 47 days, and most of the bodies were moved to Mount View Cemetery.
A clip from the popular film Unstoppable was filmed in Olean. This movie starred Denzel Washington and Chris Pine. At 4:30 a.m., a film crew of over 300 people arrived to the scene. In one scene, children were used as extras from Eldred, PA. A citizen of Olean explained it as a wonderful exposure for our tiny community.
Olean has a rich history behind churches. Olean is part of the burnt-over district because of the spread of religion during the Second Great Awakening. Coincidentally, many of the churches in Olean have burned at one point or another. My stepdad Wes is a pastor and has experienced many of the historical events within the churches of Olean.
You know, thinking about church fires, I remember when I was younger, the First Baptist Church burnt. And exactly what caused it, I don't know, but it was completely destroyed by fire. And a friend of mine, as a matter of fact, was able to get some of the bricks from that building, and he built his fireplace at his home with it. And the First Baptists were able to build a beautiful church that they have now up there on North Union Street and First Street.
We drove all the way up here to have this wonderful view of Olean.
Bill Kaufman is an American political writer who was born fairly close to home in Batavia, New York. He has come today from Elba, New York, where he currently lives. Today he will discuss some of the contrast between the novel Copperhead and his own rendition of the screenplay. Some of Mr. Kaufman's other popular works include Ain't My America, Bye Bye Miss American Empire, Dispatches from the Muck Dog Gazette, and a plethora of political essays. Many of his emphasize the importance of regionalism and localism and include fascinating details of historical significance.
Thank you, Mr. Kaufman, for taking the time out of your week to come visit our little town of secrets. We know that you come from a small town like ours, so you are able to appreciate our little adventures. Our classes are honored to be in your company, and we hope you enjoyed our video and the time you spend with us.